you talk a little bit about, when we lash out at people, sometimes we might feel better, but it actually introduces a whole level of toxicity. And we have this cancel culture thing. I mean, I try not to watch this stuff, but the other day I was like, Ellen DeGeneres is being canceled. For God's sakes, like I've never seen someone who seems to be the embodiment of like niceness and openness, and and you just see all these random people getting canceled. You had people hating on you even months ago, and I'm just like, what are you doing? These people are trying to create content that tries to make our lives better. What do you see going on here? What do we need to be aware of before we just go after someone? And are we going to get through this? That's my question.
I've been talking to a friend recently about this a lot, and he was saying something really beautiful, that what we have in the world right now, and the Vedas talk about this at this time, that what we experience is a lot of quarrel and divisiveness. And the only real antidote is
the age of quarrel, right? The age of quarrel is in the Vedas, yeah.
Exactly,
yeah. I know it.
The age of quarrel. Kali Yuga is what the name. Yuga means age, and Kali Yuga is the age of quarrel. And so in the age of quarrel, the antidote is compassion and understanding, which comes through patience and presence. And I think the biggest thing we have to realize, and I'm going to quote something very different right now, but I'm going to quote a 50 Cent lyric from the Get Rich or Die Trying album that I used
such
to
a great album. Such a great album.
On repeat when I was 16 years old. I used to be a newspaper boy in London at 14, and I would go around and deliver newspapers in my area, and I'd listen to 50 Cent. So he said a lyric that he said, you shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house. And he goes on to rhyme it with something that I won't repeat. But what I loved about that statement, and I know it's a familiar thought, but it really makes sense that if we want everyone to get it right and perfect the first time around or the second time around, we now are inflicting that judgment on ourselves internally as well. And if we're not willing to give people space and room to grow and improve and learn, then what we don't realize is we're also going to take away that permission from ourselves. And often what we're judging in others can sometimes be a judgment we see in ourselves. There's a beautiful story that I love to repeat in the book. It's in the 3rd chapter called The Evil King Goes Hungry. And it's a story that's told from a long time, I believe. It's an old Indian ancient tale. And in this story, an evil king comes to have dinner at the good king's home. So they both come before each other. The evil king sits down. The good king offers him a nice seat. They both sit down. The evil king is constantly looking around at all the guards, looking around the whole palace, just trying to scope things out. The good king's in his home and he's happily there. They bring dinner out and the dinner plate is placed in front of both of them. They're about to take their first bite and the bad king swaps the plates. And the good king goes, why did you swap the plates? Like, what, is this some sort of ritual? Like, what is this? And he said, well, you might have poisoned my food. How do I know? He goes, now I know that I have got your plate, which you were just about to eat. So I know that I'm safe now. The good king just starts to laugh. He's just like bursting out laughing, thinking like, how does this guy even think that I'm thinking of poisoning the food? And then the evil king gets confused again. And he's like, oh, is this a double bluff? So he switches the plates again. And the story goes that night, the evil king didn't eat because he just couldn't tell. And the good king ate his plate and continued. And so the lesson from that is so often that the darkness that we see in others actually comes from something inside of ourselves that's unfulfilled. That's one message we can take. The second message we can take is, even if someone is wrong, even if someone has acted in a way that is not appropriate, let's give them the time and the opportunity to grow. Let's give people a second chance. Let's let people evolve and grow, because otherwise we're also blocking our own ability to evolve and grow. So to me, and by the way, no one grows under immense criticism. People hide away because of that, right? Like if you're trying to do something and you get and you get something wrong or you make a mistake and you just get criticized and put into a corner of it. Like imagine anyone who's listening or watching right now, imagine that happens to you. How many of us go in that situation? This is exactly the encouragement I need to change my ways or improve what I'm doing or recognize my mistakes. No one does. We change when we feel loved, when we feel compassion, and we feel we're given an opportunity. You see that with alcoholics. You see that with, and by the way, none of this is about not taking accountability. I think taking accountability is different, but taking accountability is shown through the change of our actions more than anything else.